Hey, MangaMatt here, and well, again, because it's been 100 manga reviews, I thought that it would finally be a good time to give a top 10 list, as some of you may be wondering what my favorite mangas are. So let me roll those off for you here. Number 10 is The Drifting Classroom by Kazuo Umezu. Now, I love this series mostly because there are very few horror mangas, even just horror comics at all, that you can find. Like back in the 50s, you know, EC horror comics were banned because this one political nutcase went in and said that they were a bad influence on children, and so that kind of killed the horror comic industry for decades. Whereas in Japan, they were able to continue with more of that kind of storytelling, especially here in the 70s when Umezu did his longest work at 11 volumes, The Drifting Classroom. This is focused on an elementary school that is magically teleported to a desolate wasteland where there's no life, no living anything except for bizarre, horrible monsters that come down to attack the children, and even you see sort of a deconstruction of the human behavior in the children themselves, and it sort of de-evolves into more savage behavior, kind of like Lord of the Flies, and it's also very psychotropic, and it's also has some of that apocalyptic kind of feel for it, because these children aren't old enough to know how to take care of themselves. And even worse, it's that it's not just all kids of the same age. You have like the 6th graders, and they actually have to start being responsible for 2nd and 1st graders and kindergartners. You have the blind leading the inept at this point. And the ending is beautiful. The writing is very well done. I don't feel at any point that the author copped out with the kind of mythology he was writing for in the series, except for maybe I don't think a 6th grader would be able to successfully amputate an appendix from another boy without any sort of medical equipment, period. But other than that, it's stupendous. And you know, Junji Ito is sort of the other big name for horror manga writing, but to be fair, his series Uzumaki is only 3 volumes long, and that is the longest series he ever wrote. And with Drifting Classroom, you have that extended kind of time for storytelling to let the suspense and the horror build and escalate and go out of control. Like, I would really love to see Stephen King do an American adaptation of The Drifting Classroom as like a mini-series on TV, like the Sci-Fi Channel, like what he did with Rose Red, and that I think there was like Empire Hospital, or like the mini-series Stephen King's It. Like, I would love to see him do that with The Drifting Classroom, and I think it would really look well. Here's that. Then number 9 is Death Note by, what is it, Sugumi Oba and Takahashi Obata. And of course, if you don't know what this series is about, GTFO. 12 volumes long, and it's great writing, very good suspense. I've actually never read the word being read that much in a comic as I have for Death Note. Like, you really will spend like more than an hour or two reading through a single volume. So it's definitely the best bang for your buck as far as story content in these volumes. And the suspense is really amazing. The artwork, of course, is gorgeous because it's Obata, and you know, that's one of the perks of having a separate guy do the artwork as opposed to the story, even though, yes, I know manga writers commonly use assistants, but really that's more just for doing backgrounds and the little stuff that eats up time for the creator. But here it's actually 2 people in charge of it, so you really get a better focus on it. And Also, the concept is great. The big sort of battle between Light and L is the stuff of legends, as it's now going to be forever and ever in anime and manga. You're always going to talk about the battle of wits between the two of them, so it's really fantastic. Then number 8 is Parasite by Hitoshi Iwaaki, and this is the story of, you know, a kid gets an alien parasite creature that attaches to his arm, and now it sort of stretches around like Stretch Armstrong and can form into blades and stuff, and it appears that there are more of these parasites around, and they're taking over people's bodies, and it's sort of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and only Shinichi and his parasite buddy can defeat these creatures. And there's lots of great sort of gore moments in there, kind of like from John Carpenter's movie The Thing, and also a lot of great moments with character development between Shinichi and his parasite buddy, because the parasite buddy slowly becomes more human as he interacts with humans in everyday living, whereas Shinichi is exposed to all of this blood and gore and these fights to the death and just these completely emotionless creatures, and he himself starts to kind of lose his humanity as he has to subject himself to all of this violence. So it's kind of a unique role reversal where the alien starts to become more human, and then the human vicariously becomes somewhat more alien and unrelatable to other people because he has to go through all this atrocities. Great series altogether. Number, where are we at here? 7. Cyborg 009 by Shotaro Ishinomori. More so for just the history and the legacy that Cyborg 009 made for anime and manga in general. Just it being the sort of alpha and template of all Super Sentai series, and then you also have the characters that are all different ethnicities, and they sort of address their own ethnic stereotype with that, but at the same time remain their own unique sort of characters throughout the series. And you even get sort of a lot of political sort of views edged in there about like Vietnam and World War II and such, and really great sort of human moments where these characters they want to live normal lives, but they can't because they are cyborgs, and they need to use their powers to defeat Black Ghost, because Black Ghost is just a warmongering war machine that just wants to keep the world in perpetual war so that they can ultimately profit from all of the weapons that they sell. Really great series, and it is out of print, but you can totally find it still. And also, for 1967, this is still very good artwork for itself. Then number 6. I can't count. Tekkon Kincrete, Black and White by Taiyo Matsumoto. This series is about 2 kids named Black and White, and they live in a city, and they're sort of the sole protectors of the city that they live in. And there's also some mafia wars going on with it that they're also kind of involved on the side, and it's got amazing artwork, very unique, never really see it in a manga style. And also there's the interesting sort of dichotomy with the characters Black and White, and how they are both sort of the 2 sides of the same coin, and the ending is really fantastic. So is the movie. That's also a good adaptation of it, and it's also Taiyo Matsumoto's best work, in my opinion, of any of his series. And of course it earns the Eisner Award that it won when it came out. So I'll get to the other half of them in the next video.